Good. All right. So thank you for your time today. Could you tell me your names and where you're visiting from?
Yeah, so I'm Callie, and this is Chris, and we're visiting from Seattle in the States.
Lovely. Okay. And why did you come all the way across the world to be in Japan?
Ooh, good question. Well, it's our honeymoon, but we have so many reasons. We were planning a trip before the pandemic, obviously, like so many people, but Chris actually has family who's lived here, and so you've heard stories your whole life, right? About
Yeah, so I had family who actually lived here for 5 years. My dad lived here. My sister was born here, actually.
Wow.
But then after she was born, they moved back to the States. But they had told us many stories about this place, and we always wanted to see it. And I actually was planning on proposing to her pre-pandemic, so.
here. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But
Yeah.
it all works out.
So it worked
Yeah.
out, we came out afterwards, so.
Just did it in a different order.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Wow. Okay. What's your plan, basically? And is there anything that you planned because it's your honeymoon, like a special honeymoon thing, or?
Yeah, this is actually towards the end of our trip. We've been in a bunch of places throughout Japan, but we're finishing with Tokyo and just exploring, honestly, getting to see all the things we've seen in anime as well.
Yep, a little bit of that.
Shopping,
Food.
food,
We're going to be
lots
doing
of
a lot of
food.
food tours too.
Good.
What else? We had some sushi making potentially.
Yeah. So as much as we can get
Just
in.
experiencing the culture as much as possible.
Yeah. Okay. What aspects of Japanese culture have stood out to you during your time here? It could be something really like beautiful or something really odd, like anything.
Yeah, I mean, two things for me. We were mentioned before the lack of trash cans, which is like awesome because everything is super clean, but also really hard because you're carrying trash around.
Where do we put it?
But just generally, the people have been so kind and so helpful. Everyone we've met has been like more than willing to help us out. We've had conversations completely over just like Google Translate.
Right, yeah.
Like people want to interact with us, and we've learned a couple phrases in Japanese, and I think that's really helped us along, and people respond really well to that. Just like trying a little bit.
Yeah.
But everyone's just been so lovely, so it's been really, really wonderful to experience that.
Good.
I
Yeah.
also think that the mix of modernity, but like still still practicing the traditional aspects of their culture has been amazing. Like we did some tours outside of Tokyo. We were in Hakone and Takayama, which were a little bit more quaint and not as modern as Tokyo. Because when I think of Japan, I think of the hyper modern Tokyo that's very much like New York City, Times Square, and all that. But you walk one block and then suddenly you see a Shinto shrine, and it's like beautiful to have that kind of juxtaposition between the two, you know.
Completely. Yeah. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Any points on could be culture as in like the manners of people, or it could be like more of the traditional or spiritual like Shinto and
Yeah, that's very interesting. We've had a few tours here, and a lot of the people have been saying that the Japanese aren't typically religious, but they're very much like more into spirituality and all that. We've had a lot of people show us like how to actually practice and pray at a Shinto shrine, go to some Buddhist shrines, and telling us a little bit about the differences between the two. So it's very interesting to see a culture that's so like earlier, like I was saying, like very modern, but at the same time still beholden to their traditions, and going to Shinto shrines for their some birthday, I think it was, that we were seeing, celebrations, weddings, things like that. It's very interesting that they've been practicing that throughout the years while turning the cities into this, you know, and still being able to hold on to that. Whereas in Western cultures, I think we kind of lost a little bit of that.
Yeah. I think just culturally, generally, everyone's extremely polite, but one thing I guess I miss maybe in the States, because we've had a lot of tours and we interacted with people for long days, but normally at the end of something like that, I would hug someone, but I know that's like, you don't do that. So it's like, it's polite and warm, but not like that kind of warm. So it's a very different thing. Like I would be like, oh, going for a hug. I'm like, nope, just bow instead to thank someone.
Right.
We did have one tour guide hug us, which I was
Surprise.
shocked. But she also had lived outside of Japan for a long time.
Yeah, 20 years outside of Japan. So,
yeah.
she knows the hug culture.
Yeah. So that, I don't know. Yeah, that's just very common where we are. But so it was just like, stop.
Yes,
you know.
totally. Yeah. Good. Okay. So one last question I'd like to ask you: what is maybe some new food that you've tried in Japan, or your favorite Japanese food?
Favorite's a tough question because we've had a lot now.
Everything's been delicious. So good.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. I think favorite it's kind of a cliche answer, but the sushi here is it's on a completely different level than what we have in the States. Like I have some salmon nigiri or sashimi, right? And here there's such a more attention to detail in terms of, because we did omakase too here, and seeing the chef prepare that, putting so much like effort and time into just preparing the slices of the salmon in this case.
So
it was amazing, and I think that experience entirely probably made the food even better. Like it could have been the same exact process that they did, but behind the scenes we didn't see anything. But seeing how much care and practice they put in their craft for that food, the sushi was amazing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Sushi was the best. Loved everything we've had here, but I think we've tried fish that we've never had before, and it's all been fantastic. Unagi.
Yep, you haven't
So
had
good.
unagi before, yes.
Amazing. Like I'd never had that before, and I'm like, oh man, how do I can't bring that back, obviously, but.
You also raved about the sukiyaki.
Yeah, sukiyaki's been really good. I never had that, but yeah, so good. Just sad to go back to the States just for food.
I know. And the culture of, there's a lot of just small like street food that's really, really nice. Like in Takayama, there was a bunch of just street vendors where they had like different like types of beef on skewers and things like that, and just taking one of those and going and eating it. It's
really
delicious.
good.
I'm gonna dream about the heat of beef for a while.
Nice. Yeah, I think you make a really good point about like the process of preparing food being like, it just adds to the experience and the flavor of it. Yeah. Good.
We'll miss it, but it's been super fun.
Yeah,
we're
already-
excited. We still have a couple days, so eat as much as we can.
Exactly. Yeah.
Still a couple of days and we're already planning the trip back. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. Good. Well, I'm so glad that you had such a great honeymoon. And thank you so much for sharing your stories today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
It's lovely. Yeah, that's so nice. Oh my God, you're naturals.